video too. Um, she's just a bolt. I was thinking about that the other day. What did I compare? I had a really good analogy as to why and how it all works out, and the differences between men and women, mental differences, and why it is that women excel in our curriculum and men don't, and in a lot of things. And it was a great thought, if I could remember it all. I just did a video that was a great thought as well, that I should think of a title to right now while I'm still thinking of it, but anyway, girls are wired in such a way that they can remember, they can put away facts in such an organized fashion in their mind. That's what it was. It's wisdom. And that was the first. A girl asked me about, I wish there was more girls in the Bible. And I started ramming off all the girls in the Bible, right? And there's a lot of them. There's like Ruth and Rebecca and I did better yet the other day when I was talking. But there's a bunch, right? And a lot of them did like tremendous things. You know what I mean? They went above what a lot of dudes did because they did it without being dudes. So they had that down leg, and then they still made it all the way into the Bible. Anyway, the first, and this isn't the Bible, but the Bible's inspired from the Torah and the books of the Hebrews, and then they compilated the Old Testament, and then the New Testament was added on. So you get the first female, effeminate thing in the whole Bible, because God's masculine, but God's counterpart is wisdom. And it just shows you God attains wisdom, right? So he basically marries wisdom, okay? And then being the masculine with wisdom, he starts to call things into creation, right? And wisdom, which is the feminine, held all the wisdom to do everything that God was doing, right? As he was saying, let there be light, and he made himself into this light. Wisdom was like, wow, is that ever cool? You're so fascinating. Look what you did. That's great, man. Okay, wow, what are you going to do next? You know? And he said, okay, well, let there be, waters, and I'll separate the waters from the waters, and here's the land, and this is that, and that. And she was just like, wow, you're so fascinating. That's so cool. You're such a creative being, and watched him make everything with her, because she is everything. But God is everything too, because he interweaved himself into it, using her. But it was only through her that he could even do it. He had to have her first. He was trapped in the nothing, gained consciousness, and then attained wisdom. That's the wording. And then was able to give himself form, let there be light. That's how the story goes. And he is light. And then he's described as a jeweled fire. That's what, right? So he's this beautiful thing, right? That he made himself into, and that wisdom was just like, wow. And then she just kind of gave herself to him, and they are referred to as being the same once they interweave, because they interweave so much, and there's so much wisdom in God and so much God and wisdom that they're indistinguishable, except God's the creator, and wisdom, the female, is the organizer and the container, the guide too, right? The consultant, right? She is what holds it all. And when you think about man and woman, right? It's the same thing, right? And women, dudes are out making something and using and applying some wisdom or whatever, and then we'll be like, oh yeah, well I just did this and that, and then his wife will be like, oh, he applied this theory of blah 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 from so and so that made this invention in the 1902 during this war, blah blah blah, and just start rhyming out facts about everything that he just did, right? And he wouldn't know any of those facts, or maybe half or a third or whatever, but he knew the wisdom and then applied it immediately. That's the male, where she knew the wisdom, retained it, and then knew every detail about it, and all this other wisdom. And then he's just like, okay, oh wait, I got something. Right? Like she says, oh yeah, and it was this, and then he's like, oh wait, whoa, it was that? Oh, I didn't know it was that. Well, what about if we do this? And boom, and then there's a man, or there's a woman, or there's this, or there's that. So you can't. He never made mistakes. Women are women, men are men. We're fundamentally different, wired different, think different, act different, and some men are feminine, yeah, for sure, right? And we all have perversions in our minds that are uncontrollable at certain times, especially more than others. You can lose constraint of yourself. Even the very best of us, other than Christ, even the Pope has some sin that comes back at him every time he weakens himself. Anytime he just step outside the line or fall asleep, right? Like he's got to be bobbing and weaving all the time, or you're going to catch one, right? Like you wouldn't even know it. Whoa, shit. And then you're on the stagger, so then you might get 3-4 more, whack, and right now you're on the ropes. Shit, get your hands up, right before you get knocked the fuck out. And then the hands up is when you say, God, need you, buddy. Hope, and he hears you, but he's in you. In some way, shape, or form, because you can feel alone and weak a lot in this old world. It is a shithole right now because of what I was talking about in my last video. Just a minute ago, I was talking about how simplistic and simple our lives should be, but how we've made them instead. Breaks my heart. You break my heart. Bye, YouTube.